Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Alex Shares. So in today's video I'm doing a short, summary of my last holidays, which were in the Greek Cyclades Islands. So this video is intended to give you some advice so that you can best plan ahead your vacation in this region. It's a great region. And you will have the best sunsets. I think they were the best sunsets in my life, from all the regions of the world. And I personally went first to Mykonos, so starting with Mykonos. So I love Mykonos actually. I must point out that I was there in June, so June was not that busy, so it was a great period, not that hot. I was told that you should avoid July and August. Personally, I have no experience from this period, so I can't tell you, but June was great. And the first thing is that you have to plan ahead regarding your transfer, because Mykonos airport is quite a small airport, and if you don't plan your transfer ahead, you will have to wait in a queue for over an hour, I think. There were plenty of people waiting in line, although it was June. So I can imagine in July and August what it is. And if you want to save time and arrive at your hotel not too tired from the trip, you should plan ahead and book this through your hotel or maybe through booking.com, I don't know, but plan ahead and book the transfer so that someone is waiting for you at the airport. You give them the flight number and they will be there with your name on a sign, and you will be welcome there, and no frustration, no waiting. In Mykonos I had the best time. So the view is great over the old port. We had dinner in a restaurant called Bramezzo, so it was quite expensive but not that expensive. We had some daiquiri. So to give you an idea, the daiquiri I think were like 20 euros, so it's quite expensive. The dishes were about 30 euros. So yeah, it's quite expensive, but the view was great, and we were overlooking the sea with the best sunsets ever, and this atmosphere, like a very fashionable atmosphere. I mean, you feel that you're in a place where people want to be. And apart from that, I mean, there are also the downsides. So the first night we faced an electrical shortage, so it was blackout for, I believe, a few hours. I mean, it started like 9 and the entire night was wasted because we could not walk in the center of town. There was no light anywhere except from places which had a supply, an independent supply of electricity. And so the entire city was, I mean, the small town, it was completely black. So we had to walk carefully with our phone on and acting as a torch, and it was not that pleasant, I must say. So be prepared if you go to Mykonos. I mean, you can have this type of problems. And apart from that, I mean, we did not stay long in Mykonos. I would have stayed longer. I think it was a beautiful town. Very pleasant, the atmosphere. You have plenty of restaurants. You have also cheaper restaurants, cheaper options, and the small city is very charming. You have plenty of shops, and I bought a beautiful dress. I mean, that's a very good point in Greece. It's the shops. You can find beautiful things you will never find anywhere else in the world. Typical Greek dresses in the beautiful linen or cotton, and beautiful colors. You can find jewelry, you can find lots of local made stuff. It's written made in Greece, and I believe it's true normally. So yeah, definitely a great choice, great items, and for home or for fashion, and you can wear shoes also, beautiful range of shoes. So definitely things you can bring home. Personally, I mean, I regretted having brought too many clothes in my suitcase, because there were so many things to buy there that at affordable prices that I brought, but I could not buy too much because there was not so much room in my suitcase. So yeah, Mykonos definitely a must. We took Cyclades. It's a boat, quite fast and very pleasant. So I recommend totally going from one island to another through this type of boat. And I didn't have any type of problems. I was not sick, not seasick at all. So we had tickets in the club category, which is like €5 more. It's on the first floor, and they were super comfortable, the seats. So you can see through. You take a seat next to the window, and window seat you can see everything through there and all the islands. And it takes, I mean, a few hours to go from Mykonos to Amorgos, like 2 or 3 hours, I don't remember, but it goes fast and it's very pleasant. You have a bar, you can have a few snacks, you can have a drink. It's very pleasant, very comfortable. So I totally recommend Cyclades. I mean, although the comments on the website, I mean, online, they are not so great. Many people complain, maybe some, in fact our trip was late, I think, by 40 minutes, so we had to wait in the terminal, I mean in the port, but it was in the Mykonos new port. We had to take there's the old port and there's the new port, so it was the other port. So there was waiting areas there, we could sit and have a drink, and it was not unpleasant. So yeah, I definitely recommend. So we arrived in Amorgos next, in Catapola. It's the port, and Amorgos, like, it's a more wild atmosphere. You have less tourists, and it's less, let's say, less fashionable. It's more for like the nature, and more affordable hotels as well, and dining options. And we stayed in a very small 2-star hotel by the port of Catapola. So the comfort was so, I mean, especially the beds, the mattress, and it was on like very hard table. I'm not used to that type of bed base, so, and also the water was not working that well. There was no hot water, so for the shower it was not great, and the wash basin was sort of leaking. So yeah, lots of problems, but Amorgos is a great I mean place, and the sceneries are great, and the monastery, the Panagia monastery, was really amazing. We went to Kora, which is the main town in the heights of the island, and Kora is absolutely charming. And from Kora we went down through a little path to the monastery, so the view was really amazing. So we went to the Agia Ana beach, which is really great, beautiful, and we took a taxi also to the south of the island. Very wild, no hotels there, and very few people, so we took a taxi. Again, it's very difficult to have a taxi there because there are no Uber, and there were only 3 companies, so you have to call them, and they don't want to do a fixed fee, so it's by taximeter, and it goes up very fast, so it was quite expensive. And yeah, well, this is a downside also. And well, but I was also in the north of the island, but it was less charming, more touristic and more like built. And so yeah, Amogos is definitely a place I recommend to go, especially to see this Kora small town and the monastery, and it's like a dream. We stayed a few days in Carapola, and we took again the sea jet to Santorini, and it was a great trip, very short, from Amogos to Santorini, like 1 hour approximately. Again, this club category, very comfortable and beautiful trip that I really recommend. So in Santorini, again, we had booked the transfer from the hotel, so it was very practical, because when we arrived in Santorini, the port, like, it's hectic. You will find people waiting and no taxis at all. So if you have not booked your taxi ahead, you can wait there not knowing what to do, and you will not find easily a solution. So we had planned ahead and booked this taxi from the Orama hotel. We went to stay in this hotel, which had a good price tag. However, there was a big downside that we didn't know in advance, because it was not advertised on the website of the hotel. It was the fact that this hotel was built, it was completely new, it just opened, and it was built like on a very busy highway. So you heard from the room cars the entire day, and it was facing the caldera, but before the caldera you had this huge highway. So this was not at all what we imagined, and it killed the scenery, I mean, this highway. So yeah, this was definitely not the hotel we expected. It was new, very comfortable. I mean, you had everything you needed in the hotel, but it was too new. There was nothing, no charming detail, just brand new appliances, and this highway was a big problem. So we then walked to the city. We had to walk like 5 minutes, and the city of Santorini, well, what should I say, it's like Disneyland. It's full of tourists, very expensive, like dedicated to tourism. You don't feel any authentic life there. Just every corner of the city is driven by tourism, and you see that it's almost artificial, and that like the prices are really crazy, and you don't get what you pay for in restaurants. Especially we were quite disappointed. If you want a view, like, you immediately goes to the roof, and I mean, I must say the view is completely spectacular. The sea the sea and the sunsets are amazing, and the view with the caldera. And I mean, you will see in the short film I did how beautiful it is. It's unique, it's totally amazing. I can't hide my enthusiasm. I mean, despite these drawbacks that I mentioned, I mean, the astronomical prices and the fact that it's a tourist trap almost. The place is really, I mean, a place to see. It's worth the trip. Maybe you should not stay more than 2 nights, because once you have seen it, I mean, you can film it and see it again. But yeah, it's definitely a must, and I understand why you see so many photos on Instagram, and it's unique, I must say. And you have to be, I mean, able to walk a lot of stairs, and yeah, it's climbing a lot. The shops are great also. You can find lots of unique things in Santorini, beautiful dresses, and not that expensive. And but the dining options are crazily expensive, and we had really bad experiences where restaurants would not accept credit cards, and like we had dinner in a restaurant, and the coffee at the end, just a plain American coffee, was like the Americano, as they say in Europe. I mean, a filter coffee. It was like 8 or 10 euros, and they add a tip as well on top of that. I mean, without asking, they add the tip, and you have to say no, I won't give any. I mean, and then they say, what happened? And then you have to say, well, I don't understand the Americano for 10 euros, and they say, well, that's not my fault, so you should add the tip. I mean, unless you were very unhappy. So yeah, and we had like Greek salad for 20 euros, and it was a mini a tiny piece of feta on the salad, so it was kind of crazy. So yeah, definitely be prepared. It's not that pleasant. You have to face it. And yeah, well, the hotel, I would not recommend it either, the Orama, although the price was okay, but you have to take into account the fact that it's on the highway. And finally, yeah, we went back from Santorini to the Santorini airport. I mean, it was the main city of Santorini, Fira. So it's the Fira airport, and it's close to Fira. I don't think it's Fira, but we were based in Fira, and we had to go to the airport, and we booked a taxi to the hotel, which was, I think, quite cheap, like 30 euros to go to the airport. And the airport is beautiful in Santorini. It's very nice. So you go from there. You can arrive in Mykonos airport, and then fly back from Santorini, which was very convenient. and these sea jets again are very convenient from one island to the other. So yeah, I'll leave you with a few images from my trip, and I'm not regretting at all my stay in Santorini, but I'm not sure I would go back, although I love, I mean, the place and the sunset. It's amazing. You don't want to stay there for a long time and relax. It's just to see and to be seen, and to be able to tell your friends I was there, and to be able to make photos and to enjoy this sunset. And I was there. Yeah, it's not like Venice. Venice is different. It's quite big, and you can walk and you can feel that the people live there and have a normal life, and some places are cheap, and it's very touristic, obviously. But Santorini is like very small, and it's like Disneyland. It's really this atmosphere. And although we were in June and the Chinese tourists were not there, can you imagine what it will be when Chinese will come back, and in August and July? I mean, it must be crazy, the atmosphere there, all these groups, and also these ships. There are lots of ships. We saw like 3 cruise ships when we were there. The Caribbean, I think, line, and the other was MSC, sorry, and MSC, and another, I don't know, Costa. So imagine they all come, they all stop there, and there were these tiny boats coming to the cruise, to the ship, and they bring back groups, and all these groups arrive in town. So they are not allowed, these ships, to be too close, so they stop quite far from the port. They stop in front of the caldera, for example, and then there are all these little boats coming to fetch the people, the groups. So it's like very busy, and you have all these groups coming in the city, so through the funicular, you know. So yeah, it's hectic. So that was my trip in Greece, and I really strongly recommend the Cyclades. They are like beautiful islands. And yeah, please mention in the comments if you went there, what you thought about Mykonos, Amorgos, or Santorini if you went there, and if you have some recommendations as well. And thank you very much for watching. Bye bye. And now you will see my video. Bye.